What began as a quiet murmur around the driving range has now erupted into a full-blown roar, reverberating throughout the world of professional golf. Charlie Woods, once seen merely as the wide-eyed kid trailing behind his legendary father. Tiger at the PNC Championship has officially rewritten the narrative. His victory at the Team TaylorMade Invitational, marking his first American Junior Golf Association title, wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a statement. A final round score of 6 under 66 doesn't happen by chance, especially not in a field loaded with some of the highest-rated junior golfers in the nation. This wasn't a fluke. It wasn't just a feel-good moment. It was a warning. Within hours, the headlines were everywhere. NBC Sports, ESPN, Golf.com all echoed the same message. Charlie Woods didn't just participate. He arrived. In less than 24 hours, social media exploded. PGA professionals chimed in. Commentators rushed to find the right words. Suddenly, clips of Charlie's swing were being slowed down, analyzed, and compared to Tiger's, but this time, there was something different in the air. Respect. Yes, he carries the Woods name. Yes, expectations follow him with every shot. But this performance, this win, wasn't about legacy or lineage. It was about execution, precision, and poise under pressure. That's not something you can fake, and it's certainly not something you can teach. Charlie Woods didn't. Just make birdies. He held off some of the most competitive junior golfers on the circuit. That alone changed the conversation. This wasn't background noise anymore. This was the headline. And the golf world noticed, because frankly, it had no choice. When a teenager with the last name Woods steps out of the shadows and beats a stacked field with pure shot-making and nerves of steel, people stop scrolling. They start watching. In that moment, Charlie Woods wasn't just Tiger's son anymore. He was the story. It didn't take long after his AJGA victory for the professional golf world to chime in. And when it did, the reactions weren't reserved or sugar-coated. They were real, direct, and loud. Sure, you expect some buzz when Tiger Woods' son does something special, but this wasn't recycled praise. These were major winners and tour veterans giving genuine credit to a kid who, until recently, was mostly known for walking fairways alongside his dad. Justin Thomas, someone who's shared plenty of rounds with the Woods family, didn't hold back. He's got great tempo. And he's tough, mentally tough, said Justin Thomas after finishing a round of his own. He doesn't just play the game. He understands it. That kind of insight coming from someone who's competed with the best and knows what real competitive fire looks like carries weight. And Thomas isn't the type to hand out compliments for the cameras. Even Rory McIlroy, known for his measured praise, was direct during a Golf Channel interview. Not just a name, he knows how to compete. You could feel the tone shifting, from curiosity to respect. It was no longer about the novelty of Tiger's son showing up in junior events. It was about Charlie Woods being a legitimate contender in his own right. And that distinction matters. It's what turns headlines into long-term expectations. Even Jordan Spieth, reflecting on his own early rise, saw something familiar. "He reminds me of myself when I was a teenager," Spieth said during the PNC Championship. "The confidence, the focus, it's not forced, it's natural." Coming from a player who once stormed the PGA Tour before he was old enough to rent a car, that comparison isn't casual. It's telling. These weren't empty media sound bites or compliments tossed out for clicks. They were honest, thoughtful reactions from players who know exactly what greatness looks like. And more importantly, when they see it coming. There's something different about being around greatness, and the pros could feel it. In a world where hype can be manufactured overnight, what players like Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, and Jordan Spieth said about Charlie Woods carried real weight. Because when names like that speak with such conviction, you realize Charlie isn't just being watched, he's being measured A 6 under 66 is impressive on paper, sure, but it's how Charlie got there that made the golf world stop and pay attention. This wasn't a lucky run or a hot front nine. It was calculated, patient, and at times ice cold. The kind of round you expect from a seasoned tour pro grinding on a Sunday, not a teenager carrying the weight of the Woods legacy. He wasn't relying on miracle shots or lucky breaks. He was playing smart, steady golf, hole after hole, like he'd done it 1,000 times before. What really set him apart were the final 9 holes. That's where most juniors start, to feel the pressure. The leaderboard tightens, cameras close in, and every tee shot becomes a test of nerves. But Charlie, he didn't flinch. 3 birdies on the back 9, including a laser on 16 that left him a tap-in, weren't just clutch, they were ruthless. No panic, no overreaction, just a clear plan and total commitment to every swing. And for those watching closely, it didn't look like he was chasing a win. It looked like he already knew it was his. Even PGA pro Max Homa was quick to take notice. Max Homa took notice immediately. That same day, he jumped on Twitter praising Charlie Woods' tempo and poise, even pointing out the balance in his swing and the maturity behind his club selection. And coming from a guy known for elite ball striking and self-awareness, that wasn't just casual praise. It was a nod of respect from one technician to another. But what really caught people off guard wasn't just that Charlie shot a low round. It was how effortlessly he did it. There was no sense of overexertion, no wild energy, no lucky putts from across the green. Just smooth, repeatable, confident golf. It was the kind of round where, for a while, you forget you're watching a teenager until the scorecard reminds you. Rounds like this aren't just signs of potential, they show polish. And that's what everyone saw that day, not a glimpse of what might be, but a preview of what's coming. For years, Charlie Woods walked in the enormous shadow of the most iconic name in golf. From the very first time he teed it up publicly, the cameras zoomed in, the comparisons poured in, and the headlines all screamed the same thing: Tiger's son. Every swing, every fist pump, every glance was filtered through the lens of legacy. But something's changing. The conversation is shifting. It's no longer just about who his father is, it's about who Charlie is becoming, and how fast. The temptation has always been to call him a mini Tiger, but those who've truly watched him, really watched him, will tell you, Charlie isn't trying to be Tiger. He's not copying him. He's building his own game and his own story. Charlie Woods' demeanor is cooler, more measured, and his course management already reflects a maturity that feels earned, not inherited. Coaches on Golf Channel broadcasts have pointed out the subtlety in his approach, how he shapes shots based on conditions, not ego. He's not trying to be a second coming of anyone. He's trying to win golf tournaments, his way. Golf.com analysts have gone even further, saying what others have only whispered. Charlie Woods is carving out a new identity, one that stands entirely on its own. Yes, the Woods DNA is there. The killer instinct, the competitive fire, but it's wrapped in something more calculated, more composed. The flash is there when needed, but he's not swinging for highlight reels. He's swinging for trophies. And now, the pros are noticing. They're no longer just seeing the son of a 15-time major champion. They're seeing a real threat. Someone who's skipped the awkward learning curve and stepped into the spotlight with a game that demands attention. Charlie may always carry the name, but the narrative is no longer about Tiger. It's about the kid beside him, writing his own story and making the golf world watch. There's a different energy now when Charlie Woods tees it up. It's not about watching a legacy in motion. It's about witnessing a rising force knocking on the door of the next level. And maybe, just maybe, getting ready to kick it down. Once viewed as a long-term project, Charlie Woods is suddenly becoming a short-term problem for the rest of the field, and you can feel it, quietly, subtly, but unmistakably. There's a shift in energy when his name comes up. In locker rooms,